All right, so this is team 4, Sierra, Anna, Elle, Megan, Tony, and Socorn, and I'm going to pass it off to Megan to do our introduction.
Thank you, Anna. We have a graphic here showing how reverse logistics works using the forward logistics process map and showing the shift to returns management and ultimately disposal. A big shout out goes to our subject matter expert, Britton Ladd. He currently works for Amazon and specifically as a strategist for Amazon Fresh. He has over 20 years of experience and was able to provide insight into the optimal reverse logistics process. Next slide, please. One of the things that we all know is that reverse logistics is hard to do well. We looked at what issues exist internally within an organization to create that. One of the main reasons that companies don't do reverse logistics well is cost. Many items are not able to be restocked and must be sold at a discount or even destroyed. The other two reasons listed on here stem from a company not having a complete reverse logistics process in place. This can ultimately lead to a large volume of returns that are not being managed and can hurt your customer service reputation when refunds are not given in a timely manner. Now over to Tony, who is going to start the conversation on strategy.
There were 3 best practices that went along with this. The first being collaboration with a 3PL, as well as integration of IT systems. And lastly, implementation of the Transportation Management System, or TMS. And next slide, please. So collaborating with a 3PL can be a huge advantage for companies of all sizes. They offer customizable solutions that are all scalable. So anywhere from a small to a large company can use their strategies and implement them. They have a deep industry knowledge, all the way from local to global level. They are doing contracts frequently for reverse logistics, and they have a lot of information from doing those. The benefit to using a 3PL is it's going to allow you to focus on your core competency and actually build your brand instead of trying to implement a confusing logistics system. There are multiple advantages within each 3PL, mostly stemming from either their IT systems that are usually not available for purchase because they're developed in-house by each 3PL. And they have large transportation networks that are already existing, so that infrastructure is in place, and that investment does not need to be made by your company. And lastly, the goal of this is that it's ultimately linked to higher customer satisfaction. And next slide, please. And these 3 companies, FedEx Supply Chain, Reverse Logistics Group, and Amazon, are all considered gold standard when it comes to reverse logistics and 3PL usage. So FedEx acquired Genco, which was the pioneer and industry leader in reverse logistics in 2015. They were the leading market share and were getting about $640 million in revenue annually from their reverse logistics services. So that's not a lot of money for it being the largest, which kind of speaks about the industry in general. They mainly focus on strategies that are going to improve customer satisfaction through system integration. And they have a very, very large transportation network already in place. And the graphic kind of shows how all of those systems go together in terms of getting product back to the warehouse for sorting. And then Reverse Logistics Group is a very advanced reverse logistics 3PL, and they have IT that they developed in-house that allows for tracking and data management that is all completely integrated. And now I'm going to pass it off to Anna to talk about IT.
Right, so obviously when collaborating with a 3PL, it's really important that the technology of the client company and the 3PL work well together. And so one of the most important software or technology investments that companies should make is in middleware, and middleware is basically just software that bridges two different systems together so that they work well and will enable good communication. And middleware also ensures that companies are sharing the accurate information at the correct time. It helps build and maintain good communication between the companies, and it enables them to be more responsive to needs that may be happening rapidly. Amazon has done a great job strategically collaborating with 3PLs so that they can focus on what they're best at, which is actually developing more technology. Moving on to the next slide. There's also logistics-specific technology which companies should invest in when they're starting to implement a reverse logistics strategy. And most of these technologies have to do with ensuring that products that are returned to the company are tracked correctly and sent to the right place or processed in the right manner. So the first technology is RFID, or radio frequency identification. And these are essentially tags that are put on products and allow the company to see where the product is in the process of the return. And so this ensures both safety of the product in terms of losing it or potential theft, and it also ensures that the product is in a timely processing. And then there's automated material handling equipment, and this is, like machinery that takes out the human element and allows for quicker, more accurate movement of products within a warehouse or distribution center. It reduces human error and limits risk of injury. And then there's also the electronic data interchange. And this is actually, it's almost like a language. It's a communication method that is a standard between two companies so that when they do send mass amounts of data electronically, that data is coded correctly so that each company can read and utilize it. And this also allows for faster, more accurate data exchange, as well as reducing waste from paper. So moving on, we're going to go to Sierra with transportation management.
Transportation management is the third aspect of our best practice. Transportation management system manages all transportation activity for shippers and logistics service providers. It is a subset of an electronic resource planning system, also known as ERP, and it can be used as the link between a warehouse management system to kind of fill in where the ERP left off and the WMS kicks in. Transportation is vital, and it's often overlooked aspect of reverse logistics. Given that returns account for roughly 3 to 5% of total revenue, costs can quickly accumulate if transportation is not managed properly. On that note, the TMS, it really has 5 aspects that it brings to reverse logistics. And the first is optimization. TMS software aids in a series of planning initiatives to optimize the company's transportation plan. The software can also help determine how products are packaged and the quantities required for shipment. In addition to TMS software, it decides at which point during the product journey that goods can be consolidated, allowing users to maximize every shipment that leaves the distribution center. Another advantage is high availability. So being that technology is progressing, we can look over to the left side of the screen and see that Oracle has a transportation management system that's cloud-based. It allows several different companies of various sizes to implement a TMS system at a lower cost, and it's very innovative. Another aspect of a TMS is that it provides supply chain visibility. It allows us to see where our product is in relation to our warehouses, at what point it's coming from our customer. TMS software leverages the use of global positioning systems, GPS, using RFID technology that like Anna was speaking about in the slides before, to help automate the entire reverse flow of goods. It also has a measurement system allowing us to analyze and measure KPIs. So it generates reports that allow us to see what key performance indicators, will help us build toward the future and have a better grasp of what's going on in terms of the goods that are coming back to us. So on that note, I'm going to pass it off to Socorn.
Thank you, Sarah. As Anna, Tony, and Sarah have mentioned about the implementation of 3PLs, IT infrastructure, and transportation software logistic. As you know, many of these areas and some implementation into the firm doesn't come without risk associated with them. Each risk will perform based on this, the strength, weaknesses, and opportunity and the threats. So in implementing the 3PLs and using these IT infrastructure and transportation and logistic, one of many strengths that is customer satisfaction, enhancement of the customer experience, and track order and shipment when you're doing logistic of transportation, and also in IT infrastructures is also increased collaboration and trusted between partnership, and increases a benefit for both parties, which also increase the innovation between the supplier and also the internal core competency. And it's also bring huge revenue into the company. And with that, also the weaknesses is it could be, the loss of connection between consumer and firm and difficulty to integrate or not training and onboarding personnel to the system. And could be the incompatible software and data technology. And then the opportunity for looking into 3PLs and is that you create a market niche, a better position yourself with the competitor, and it's a scalable and increase again customer service and also enhancement of opportunity to do green and sustainability as far as environmental friendly, reduce footprints, and customers focus. And then lastly, the threat. What is the threat that you could encounter of using 3PLs and IT system? So potential threat is that the breach of data and information in IT and also the IP protection and customer satisfaction here could be a little bit of a threat. And again, the lost personal connection. These are some of the analysis that we perform in looking at the 3PL for reverse logistic. With that, I would like to hand on to how Elle was talking about the key performance indicators and the metrics that we use for 3PLs and infrastructure.
Thank you. Some of the metrics to basically reverse logistic in e-commerce are 85% of the customers basically like to, they would stop buying from a business if it's hard for them to do any kind of returns. 95% of the customers say that if it's really easy and convenient for them to shop from a company online, they would do it. 40% of the buyers like to buy anything online due to returns being so difficult for them, and percent of the customers actually go back to the company and purchase again if the returns are easy for them to do. Some of the key performance indicators are financial performance. An example, per cost, per return, and credit issues for returns. Satisfaction, an indicator for that would be return rate, transit time, order fill rate. Another KPI would be transportation, and that could be on-time pickups, on-time deliveries, manufacturing, and that's for affected rate, scrap rate, And last, warehousing, and that's basically number of inventory turns.
So overall, our final recommendation is don't be afraid to integrate a top 3PL. I mean, major companies are doing this. Look at Amazon, Walmart. They're all using these 3PLs that are subject matter experts that take an insight from these top companies that use a 3PL as their best practice for implementing their reverse logistics strategy. So if they're taking, key takeaways from Amazon or from Walmart and combining them, they're just only growing in their knowledge in the industry. So to implement a 3PL and, choose those subject matter experts, it's a best practice in our eyes. The next is technology is the future of logistics and supply chain industry. I mean, over the past decade, we can see the changes that have occurred within the supply chain. We have visibility over our products. We have cloud-based technology, which makes it available and scalable. We have 3PLs, again, that are developing their own internal technology, like Tony mentioned. And then we have, key aspects that Anna mentioned earlier on as well regarding to our RFID technology and the enhancements that we've made as far as that goes. And lastly, visibility equals optimization. I mean, the more we can see, the more we can understand, the more we can analyze, the more that we can gain from our KPI measurements and reports that are generated off this IT system, the more optimized our reverse logistics strategy will be. So thank you for your time, and thanks for listening to Team 4.